Thank you. Okay, what was it? Rose!
Wylie,
Yes.
what does it take to play a machine like this?
Well, you don't have to be a gorilla, obviously. You don't have to be 20 years old either, obviously. But it takes a certain amount of agility and presumably a certain amount of accuracy. And it's a musical instrument, so you have to be a bit of a musician as well. It's a dance because you use your hands and your feet, and you just have to fall in love with it, which I did when I first came to the Carillon.
And that's how long?
The first time I discovered Carillon was in 1967, spring.
67, and where were you then?
I was a student at the University of Chicago, and I was walking along all the spare time. It was a Friday night or a Saturday night. I was just looking for some fun, and I heard the bells coming from the tower at Rockefeller Chapel. And I later discovered this is the second heaviest musical instrument in the world, at 100 tons. And I heard the music coming from there. And then as I walked closer, I heard more music, and there was a traveling carillon, similar to this but a little smaller, being pulled by a truck, and it was playing too, and they were doing duets between the two carillons. And then when they stopped that, they also had a steam calliope there in the driveway of the chapel, and they had a row of tubas along the roof at the chapel playing Wagner. And I said, whoa, this is a little crazy.
That was 1967.
This is 1967.
The summer of love.
Well, yeah, right. And I said, I want to meet the guy who's responsible, or the woman, whoever it was, responsible for this bit of musical insanity. But it was really, really very well staged. And so I went and took a tour the next day and met the carillonneur at the time and saw the music. And I saw that the music is just like piano music, the treble clef and the bass clef. But he was using his feet, too. So I said, could I learn how to play? And he said, well, I don't give lessons. I said, oh, well, how do you practice? And he said, well, there's a practice keyboard in the basement, so you can learn without bothering the neighbors and so forth. And so I said, well, could I just borrow the key every now and then? He said, okay. So I went down and started playing around and started noodling and teaching myself a bit. And then one Saturday night he got roaring happy and didn't want to get up Sunday morning early to play, and said, just go upstairs and play something tomorrow morning. And I said, okay. And that was my debut. He couldn't keep me away after that. So.
How much later was that? How many years later?
Well, no, it was about I don't even remember, probably 6 months later.
6 months later.
But so then I didn't do much for a while because, he had the job and he was doing the job. But then he left several years later, and they needed to have somebody play. And so in 1974, I became the assistant carillonneur. And in 1984, I became the University Carillonneur, and I've had that job ever since.
Ever since you've had that job?
Loved it, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, that's amazing.
I give long answers to short questions.
No, that's right. I mean, I've heard a lot about your talent on this instrument.
I'm not the best carillonneur, but I'm certainly one of the more enthusiastic, proselytizers, I guess, or advocates for the instrument. A lot of us are.
And did it take you out of the country too?
Well, I've played overseas a fair amount as well. I've had several concert tours in Europe and, Scandinavia, Netherlands, Belgium, France, and it's always fun. I mean, most of the people I get to tour to come to visit are people I know from concerts who have come here, and I invite them here, and it's a big happy family mostly.
And it's your first time here on Amelia Island on Fernandina Beach?
Yeah. I've been coming to Florida for several years, but I've not had occasion to come up here before.
This is the hidden jewel.
This is beautiful.
It's the hidden jewel.
I mean, Sarasota is very nice. We love Sarasota, but I've never been up here. This is like it.
Good. Well, we're looking forward to your concert tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.